a great introduction to Mike Williams would be for how many years, Mike, have you done my program?
Almost 9.
Almost 9.
8.5 years.
8.5 years. So Mike is the producer of Hiaces Studios.
Aces High.
Aces High. I'm sorry, Aces High Studio, and he's done mine and Noel Jones, and I don't want to start dropping names, but should I?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
It's better if you do it than if I do.
Right. And this is one of the eyes behind the Azusa experience, and the ones who've been just watching the Azusa conferences during this pandemic time and stuff like that. And let's just say that was wonderful. We should have had a clip to play today.
Oh, that would have been great. Yeah,
that would have been great. And you have the technology to do it. I don't know why you didn't do it, but anyway, see, things that pisses me off is that. But there were people who were crying and just in awe. The anointing that is on those tapes will never leave.
Right.
It's amazing, and it's gonna upset some people. It's gonna offend a few people, but not long from now, we're gonna have Carlton on talking with me during this pandemic time and stuff like that. You know, I'm not saying I don't care if they get upset or not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't care. So, because God trusted him with something that big, and we want to talk about where we are today in this. So I looked up, and someone had sent me a video from Truth That Pisses Me Off, and you were there talking about, and the title is sort of kind of provocative, and so I thought that, oh, here we go, Mike is just going off and so on and so forth like that. Now, Mike has been online how many years now?
Oh, I don't know.
How many years you been online commenting on everybody's, what you call it? And
as long as there's been an online, just about.
And so everything gets on your nerves pretty much, doesn't it? Wow, we're going to have a great show today. Now, the thing that got on my nerves, that got on your nerves, it was none of your business on how the guy, if he wanted to wear a short sleeve shirt with a tie. What business of that is yours?
I have to look at it. That's no man should be wearing a tie with a short sleeve shirt, getting all dressed up, and then putting in a short sleeve shirt. And then even if you're wearing a jacket and they're preaching in motion and all you see is arm all the way to the elbow. It's just, don't do that. Don't do that. That's wrong. It's wrong.
So was that the inspiration for Truth That Pisses Me Off?
Well, see, here's the misnomer. It's not truth that pisses me off. See, I'm not Andy Rooney. I'm not talking about my pet peeves. Like, you ever notice how the peanut? You ever wonder why the peanut bags are on an airplane are so small? You know, so I'm not talking about that.
Who's that? Who's Andy Rooney?
Andy Rooney was the guy that used to come on at the end of 60 Minutes. And he would talk about really whatever had pissed him off.
Right. I'm old. Yeah. Right.
So I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about truth. And truth is something that most people don't know. And it's very, very critical because Jesus said, it's only the truth you know that will make you free. Truth you heard doesn't mean anything. Truth you know, truth you have experience with. Just like when the Bible said Adam knew Eve and Cain was conceived. It's the truth you know that makes you free. Truth that you have spent time with and that you have relationship with. And that kind of truth, usually, of course, I'm a Christian, so we're talking about the Bible. That kind of truth tends to piss people off because what people usually have is religion, what they were told, what they heard. You very well know that most of the truth in the Bible, people don't know the Bible because that's a big part of your ministry with myths and misconceptions.
Right.
And so it is so it's the truth that pisses other people off.
It's truth that
doesn't piss
pisses
me off.
other people off.
Yeah.
Do you know Leslie Jordan?
Yes, I know a Leslie Jordan.
The Leslie Jordan that you know is on Instagram?
Yes. Yeah, the comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Why?
Does his truth piss you off?
No, I agree with a lot of his what do you mean by his truth? The stuff he talks about?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I find it hilarious.
He's got to be the funniest man.
He is. It's so funny. I love his stuff.
And how he talks. How was the other day? Yeah. Okay. So I was working on this program, and I wanted to ask you to come on and be with us. I was happy that you had your program, and I wanted to infuse our audiences and have this talk. And I noticed that under the radar, something happened. The young man is out jogging, and two white men ends his life.
Yeah.
Let's take it from there. This segment should be called what?
It should be called Justice in Black and White.
Okay. Now let me ask you this question: are you black or white?
I am physically white.
What do you mean by that?
Because I have been around black people for so long, they've adopted me.
Right. But let me share this with you. I wish I had the video of you shouting at Azusa.
Yeah.
And the power of God. And you couldn't have faked that in your wildest dream.
Right.
It was amazing. And it was in that moment that your mother was saying, I want my son back.
Well, I'll tell you something. Years ago, this has been, God, at least almost 30 years ago. I was having a conversation with my mom over the phone. I was living in Fort Worth, Texas in the Air Force, and we were talking. And my mom said to me, Michael, are you racist? And I said, Mom, how in the world can you ask me that of all people, all the stuff you've heard me talk about? She said, no. I mean, do you hate white people? I said, no, Mom, I don't hate white people. My parents are white. I'm not fond of them sometimes, like what has happened in the last couple of months.
Yes.
But it's just a case of here we go again.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go into this and unpack this as you know it, because you always look at me with eyes drawn. Do you understand that term?
Yes.
You always look at me like this. Yeah. Because of when the whole Trump thing came around. Of course, you walk with me through that. So I sort of tend to be what, in your opinion? Let's deal with George Bloomer first, because I want to go someplace with this. Your assessment of me for the political process is what?
Well, honestly, I think that you see the good in both, politically, I think you see the good in both parties, and you try to emphasize that.
I try to. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you don't think like I'm an undercover Republican posing as a Democrat?
No, I think you're a blatant Republican who has some very who has
what?
I think you're a blatant Republican. Actually, what I think you are, and what I think most people should be, is someone who thinks for themselves. And I don't think anybody is really all anything.
Yes.
I think everybody can see certain issues in the Republican Party that they believe, and certain issues in the Democratic Party. And if you don't, whether it's political or not, you're in a cult. If all you see is one side of everything,
right, you're in a cult.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to say that because some of my views on when you're going to start talking is going to sway back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to get a working understanding. Okay, so this story comes to you how? How do you hear this story and how to now if Jamal Bryant was on today, there would be a whole different
Oh, sure.
mixture.
I might channel a little of my inner Jamal Bryant today. I don't know.
Well, let's see where he is. Okay. All right.
So,
Preach, white man.
the way I got involved in all of this is, I guess it's been almost 4 years ago, or maybe it's been over 4 years ago. And of course, we had been dealing with Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown, and I was somebody in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when Trayvon was shot, that marched in Tulsa, Oklahoma, wearing a hoodie in solidarity with his family and everybody involved in that. There weren't a lot of white people in that march. There were some. And then, of course, we had Michael Brown, and then we had Freddie Gray. We had
was you with me at Michael Brown's funeral? You wasn't
I
there.
was not there. No.
Okay. Where did we go to? Did we go to any of the together?
Not with me. No.
Trayvon, which
No, you didn't take me to any.
Okay. All right. No, that was me and Jamal. That was me and Jamal. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we had Philando Castile, and for a while it seemed like every other day was something new, and every other day the previous issue, the officer had gotten off and set free, and people began to realize that it is legal to kill Black people in this country, particularly if you're a white police officer. But there were a lot of other issues that didn't involve police officers, and those people were getting off too. And the reason that it continued and became like an epidemic is because the reason people were killing unarmed Black men is because they found out they could. And then right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, while we're dealing with all of that, we had an issue right here in Tulsa with Terrence Crutcher. His sister, I think, is watching right now. Mm-hmm. His twin sister. And so with Terrence, it's on video of him walking away from the police officer with his hands in the air. He's walking very slowly. He's confused, not sure what's going on. The officer was a white lady police officer on her way to a domestic violence call when she sees a truck in the middle of the road, and she stops to investigate. Now, the person who made the domestic violence call may be dying at this point, and she's stopping to examine a car, a truck in the middle of the road. Terrence comes, then she sees Terrence with the truck and immediately draws her gun, and a helicopter is flying overhead. Her husband happens to be in the helicopter. He's a cop also. And he says, and it's on the audio of the video, her husband says, "He looks like a bad dude." Now he's hundreds of feet in the air, knows nothing about him, sees no details about him, but he's a bad dude. Why? Well, the only thing he knows about him is the only thing he needed to know about him. He's Black. Mm. And so this lady draws a gun. He goes toward his vehicle. The windows are up in the truck. She's already searched the vehicle.
This is
seen that there is no gun in the car.
My God.
And when he starts to reach toward the car, she shoots him. Now she has several other cops that have shown up at that time. None of them had a gun. All of them had only pulled out tasers. She pulled a gun. And the issue, my dad was telling me, he said her issue wasn't that she shot him. Her first issue was that she drew her gun in the first place, because they teach police officers, do not draw your gun unless you intend to use it. Yeah. And if you intend to use it, you better aim to kill. Now they don't do that. They don't say that because of their safety. They say you better aim to kill because they don't want to get sued by the person that they shot if they live. Mm. So people always say, well, why didn't they shoot him in in the hand like the Lone Ranger, because then I'm going to sue you and shut down your police department. It's going bankrupt when I get all the money from the city that I'm going to get for you shooting. So that is why they do that. Then the lady, after she shoots him, she says what they are taught to say, which is, I feared for my life. But police officers take an oath when they go through police training that says, I will not make decisions based on fear. So if you won't make a decision based on fear, how do you shoot somebody because you feared for your life? Police officers are trained to be calm in the middle of a crisis. Citizens aren't. And when a regular citizen who hasn't gone through that training has a gun in their face, they might act a certain way that might spook a police officer. But Terrence wasn't even doing that. And then even after Terrence Crutcher, of course, she got off. They're still dealing with the city now. Benjamin Crump, who you know well, is his family's attorney, as he is with, seems like, just about everybody.
Yeah.
We have the guy shot in Dallas in his home, eating ice cream in his underwear.
Mm.
And a lady cop walks in thinking it's her apartment because it was cracked. The door was cracked. She walks in thinking it's her apartment. Now I can walk into a pitch black house and know it's not my house immediately without being able to hardly see anything. And she shoots him. Another lady in Fort Worth, Texas, like a week after the next day after the lady in Dallas had her trial, a lady in Fort Worth, Texas gets shot through the window of her home by a police officer.
Jesus.
And then, 2-3 months ago, we have Ahmaud Arbery out jogging, and two white men and the guy who shot the video, who was actually a friend of theirs and an accomplice, go out. Literally, they went hunting. They saw a young black man jogging, and they decided that he needed to die.
A safari.
And they can do it. Pardon me?
A safari.
Absolutely. It was a safari. And when he tried to get out of their way, the guy with the camera, who's now getting death threats. Now, he doesn't mind that somebody's dead. He's getting death threats. He's not dead. Blocked him in. So that forced a confrontation, because the guy's not going to just stand there and let somebody shoot him. And with the confrontation, he gets shot, of course. The police report says that he was burglarizing their home, and the homeowner shot him. Later, we found out that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
So then they said that he was exacting his rights of a citizen's arrest because he was a former police officer. But so first of all, why the other story, if that's the case? If that was the truth, why wouldn't that have been the truth from the beginning? So in order to be able to commit a citizen's arrest on somebody, you have to witness the crime. They witnessed nothing except a man jogging. And you have to do the arrest at the time the crime is being committed. You don't get to hunt them down later and just shoot them. First of all, vigilantism in this country is illegal. You're not allowed to just go shoot people, take the law into your own hands. The police officers, we found out in the last couple of days, said that they felt they had sufficient evidence to arrest the men, and the district attorney said, let them go. So the district attorney now has recused herself and asked for the case to go to the Department of Justice. I don't know why it would go to the Department of Justice instead of the Attorney General of Georgia. But now it's going to go to William Barr, who we know lets off people who have committed crimes. So here we are again. The reason, let me throw this in.
By all means.
The reason this bothers me so much,
Jesus.
and the reason I call it justice in black and white, is because when a Black person hears this story, they react a certain way. And they do that because they have experienced it. They haven't necessarily been shot, but they've been in the situations where they just as easily could have. And when a white person hears the same story, they have a completely different response, a completely different reaction, and they begin to blame the victim for being the victim. He should have complied. Well, the writing on the side of the squad car is protect and serve, not comply or die. Not complying is not a death sentence. If you're a white person, you get arrested and taken to jail. You bond out and you go back, you go on about your business. For a Black person to do anything other than what they were told to do, and in many cases, they weren't doing anything at all. They weren't even if they were committing a crime, that's not a death sentence. You go to jail. Why did the two men, the father and son, rather than chase him down, not call the police and say, here's a suspect he looks like the guy that was burglarizing homes? Because there was no guy burglarizing homes. They knew that.
Was there a home burglarized?
No, there were probably homes in the area, but that's not why they went after him.
No, I'm saying, were there homes burglarized in the area?
Oh, their home? No, absolutely not.
No.
Wow. Not at all. So, and my problem is that in churches all over America this weekend and next weekend and probably the next weekend, in Black churches, you will be hearing sermons that involve Ahmaud Arbery. And in white churches, you will hear, God wants to bless you. The white people and white Christians in particular, and white preachers even more in particular, remain silent every time this happens. And the more it happens, the more deafening that silence becomes. It is so conspicuous that they say nothing. And the same white preachers who say nothing when this happens are the same type of white preachers who promoted and perpetuated slavery with things like slaves obey your masters. Secular people weren't saying that. They don't know that scripture. Secular white people weren't saying, obey those in authority over you, for all authority comes from God. They don't know that scripture. That was white Christians in order to make their slaves more docile, because if I can get you to believe that the authority I have over you came from God, and if I can get you to believe that God himself said slaves obey your masters, and if I can put the fear of God in you that I claim that I have and clearly don't, it's a lot easier to control. So it really, really pisses me off, Bishop, that we have this dichotomy. And the reason for it is that white people seem to feel like if it's not their experience, it's no one's experience.
So what happens when we get the call that a Black police officer shot a white boy in cold blood because he was running in his own neighborhood?
I don't know, because I haven't heard those stories.
Will we ever?
We may at some point, but we haven't.
Yeah, but
that's what people like to say.
Black police officers don't shoot white people.
No, they don't. They don't. And I have heard there was a lady that did get shot by somebody who was Black. He was immediately arrested.
Yes.
And held without bail.
He was arrested by his partner.
Yes. Yes. We don't see we cops cover for their own, but apparently only the white ones.
Wow. There's a story where a woman is driving And it's a white woman, she's driving, the police officer stops her, asks her for what you call it, and she says she's afraid to move her hand to get. He said, go in your glove compartment and get your license. He said, I'm afraid to. He said, stop it. We don't shoot white people. You're white.
Wow.
We only shoot black people. You saw that video?
I remember that.
Viral. Yeah.
Yes.
If you present truth like this and people get pissed off, that's the mic that I want to be associated with.
Yeah.
I don't care about the short sleeve and the white shirt.
Right.
And
Right.
apparently you have studied the cases. I listened to you. I felt so protected by what you were saying and informed at the same time. And there was no hate of your own people or sell out anyone. It's just stating the facts. And why is this so deafening to so many people? And that's why when we first started off, I wanted to, because I didn't know which way you were gonna come. So I wanted to give the people the opportunity to hear you say how you view me, because normally if it was something else, I would have jumped in the middle of it and said, well, but there is nothing for me to jump in the middle of, other than to ask you to do something for me. I think that there was a component on social justice that Warfarecology is missing in the political process that I would like for you to come on once a week and give a 5-10 minute, piss off.
I would love to. Would love to.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it. This, Mike, don't take this wrong, but this is worth your while, not the other stuff.
Yeah.
What?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this, because just like and you can trust me that if we come with something and we're going to deal with a topic and it's the Bible, one of the things you can trust about Bishop George Bloomer, he's going to try to get you as closest to the truth as he possibly can.
No question.
And if there's myths with regard, and he's going to tell it to you. If we need it just to raise the offering, we're going to tell you. Whatever it is, leave that alone. That's going to bother it. Whatever it is, but it's going to be the truth, and it's going to be honest, and it's not going to be something that can poison you or cause your demise. And there's a prayer that we prayed on Friday. There's a prayer that we prayed on Friday, and the prayer that we prayed was that out of the coronavirus type thing with the quarantines, all that we were going through, that God was going to position the voices that will lead are going to be voices that will lead from the future. And God is going to quarantine many of us to where we are.
Wow.
And he's going to evacuate us from our comfortable lifestyle by allowing conditions to get so bad that we cannot stay where we wanted to stay.
Yeah.
I don't have a paycheck coming to me.
Yeah.
I'm an itinerary preacher. I've not been on the road speaking in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here for 8 weeks.
Right.
I've been evacuated here because the conditions are too bad for me to. And while you were talking, because I've been asking my team, God is he's evolving us. You're working behind the scenes to make us look a lot better. Vanita's working, Tamila's working. Our staff is all pulling together. We don't know where we're going from this. I just know that I'm not going off after this is over.
Right.
And while you were talking, there it was. That's the reason why you're on today. You're on today to bring us the social justice warfare piece from the streets and in the church once or twice a week. Bishop, this is what's going on, da, 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 da. And some nights we're going to argue because my politics is going to step up. Maybe not. But if you do that for us, that this is live and people are seeing it, I think this would be great.
I would love to do that, and I want to add this component because I think it's very, very, very critical. You remember there was a young man, I forget his name, and I feel bad that I forgot his name, but he was shot some months ago in his grandmother's backyard. He had been running, and he made it to his grandmother's backyard and was shot in his grandmother's backyard. And the whole reason the police pursued him was because they thought he had a gun, and it was a cell phone. But my question is, why would it have mattered if he had had a gun? Because those same people screaming that he may have had a gun are screaming for their Second Amendment rights every day. We have a right to bear arms. We just saw hundreds of angry protesters at various capitals in Michigan, the state capital, in Ohio, and several others, with semi-automatic rifles in police officers' faces, screaming and yelling with guns in hand, and not one of them got shot. Not one police officer said, "I feared for my life." Not one police officer said, I thought they might have a gun. It was obvious they had a gun. And it was obvious they were angry.
Did you see the video in Virginia where the guy was carrying on and the police officers told him to stop, and he snatches and starts
yeah.
And the police officers, and now the police officers chasing him.
Yeah. But he didn't get shot.
He didn't get shot.
And I think if we want real...
Should he have gotten shot?
No.
Okay.
But neither should the people they're shooting.
Yes.
For reasons that make no sense. And if we ever want real gun control in this country, if we really want it to happen, we can't wait on another school shooting. We can't wait on a mass shooting in Vegas at a concert. What we have to do is let every Black person in America open carry. And the next day, we'll have gun reform. In Oklahoma, they passed a law. I couldn't believe it was even real. I thought it was fake. They passed a law that you can open carry in Oklahoma and you don't even have to register your gun.
That's not true.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true. And what I thought was going to happen was we'll have more Black people carrying a gun and getting shot by white police officers who say he had a gun. I really feel like that entire law is just a way of killing more people.
There's a story that broke a few weeks ago. Where a was going through either Sam's Club or Walmart, and he had a mask on, and the security followed him all around the store. Right? It was Walmart. It's in North Carolina, right? I mean, we don't know where. It was. We'll try to find the story for it. And which call now? They followed him around, and they said that they felt that he was suspicious. We're in the middle of a pandemic. They're asking us.
Everybody's wearing a mask. Oh my God.
Yeah. Do you mind taking some questions?
No, not at all.
Or raise your hand. If you want to take, if those of you that want to ask a question, you can place it in the chat or put it in raise your hand. Now I want to ask you this question. Do you mind taking questions?
I do not mind.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this question. Do you mind taking questions?
I do not mind.
Well, let me ask you this. What kind of questions do you not mind taking?
I thought you were going to say the same thing again. I was going to say, well, let me ask you this question. Yeah. What do you want my answer to be?
Yeah. I should have drove that part. Before we go to questions, I want to do something that I probably should have opened up with doing with you today. And that is this. Normally I do a 1-for-1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I want to do
now, those are the questions I mind taking. Because you're brutal.
Me?
Yes. You are brutal with
these.
I'm terrible with these.
The Africans say, hey!
We have rehearsed these. I have stood in the rehearsal as Bishop Jakes and Carlton Pearson and different people for you to rehearse your one-on-ones, and I'm horrible. If you want people to just click off and instantly, let's do it.
Okay, so we get you next time around. Oh, Benita, should I do it? We should do the one for one.
I knew Vanita would say that. She just wants to see me squirm.
Yeah, just do it one for one. Okay, you ready?
I know, but go ahead.
Corona beer.
Not killing people.
Whose beer was it in the refrigerator at your house?
All right, since you said that, and see, now I have to explain because I have religious people watching. Every year on the final day of the Masters, I would invite my dad over to watch the Masters with me that day, and he would bring his friends, and they drink. I don't. If I did, I would say I did because I don't mind pissing people off.
Where did the question come from about the beer?
So Gene, your road manager at the time, for lack of another word, went into my refrigerator. You came over to do a taping while you were in town for something else. You came up and we did some tapings, and Gene went in my refrigerator and saw beer that my dad had left from when he was over for the Masters, and went and told you, Mike drinks beer.
Now, why did I believe
swore that because I have this belly, that's where the belly came from. But honest to God, the belly is Coke.
This is great. This is great. I'm sorry, Mike. So now don't say anything bad about me when the program goes off. I just thought, since you said that how brutal I could be, I just thought your one for one should be like that. All right, let's do a question.
Do you ever feel like you're betraying your own people by talking like this?
Wow, that's a great question. No, because those aren't my people.
Go get him, Mike. Wow. Woo. I don't listen. This is Warfarecology, and I don't want fights. Y'all to start standing. Well, ask the question you want to ask. But question. Jesus, great answer.
Yeah, I felt it. I feel.
Did you feel it coming? Did you feel that question coming?
Not at all. I didn't think anybody would ask something like that.
No, but did you feel questions like that coming?
No. Oh, I didn't know what to expect.
When you say truth that pisses people off, you wake up the pissed off. Right?
Right.
It's the pissed off that's talking. I don't know, but go ahead.
Now we're talking truth and people get pissed off.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. That's it.
Yes.
There was a question asking, what do you think about 5G?
Wow. What do you think about 5G?
I'm not entirely sure because I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories about it and stuff, but I hope that those conspiracy theories aren't true, because I want my lightning internet speed. I want to be able to download something before I even think about it. So I don't think I buy into that at all. And what I know for a fact is that microwaves in the air do not create viruses. That's not how microwaves work. It's not how viruses work.
He answered that question like a true techie. Yeah. Okay, question. If you have a question, put it in the chat. And if you like to speak to Mr. Williams, you can raise your hand.
We have one hand raised.
We have one hand raised.
Okay.
Teresa?
Sorry, that was by mistake.
Okay.
How are you there today? Okay, I'm sorry. She said it was by mistake. Thank you, Teresa.
The question is, shouldn't the church stay out of these kind of situations?
I think if all of your, okay, I'll put it this way. Jesus was about social justice. Jesus taught, feed the poor, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, give to the poor. If that's not social justice, I don't know what is. And if all of your anointing and power of God is to shout, but not make a difference in this world, then go somewhere else. Go do something else. Because all you have is a religion. That's not God.
Mike, you came ready today, didn't you? Yeah, that's good. Question.
What do you think about Donald Trump's comments on, I guess it was Lysol and bleach, or disinfectant and bleach?
What was Donald Trump's comment?
You don't have to. You don't have to answer those questions if you don't want to.
Oh, I don't mind. I'm okay with pissing people off. I have a whole show doing it.
That's right. What is it?
They asked him what was his thoughts on Donald Trump's comment about bleach. He basically said something like, you could drink bleach or something.
Yeah.
Like
What
that.
is your thoughts on Donald Trump telling the people that they can drink bleach or shoot up his disinfectants or something like that?
Oh, okay. I think Donald Trump is a moron.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Now see, there
Here
goes
we go.
there goes our 15 minutes twice a week.
I had the same reaction that Dr. Burke, the scientist, had while he was saying it, and the camera panned over to her, and she just looked like we're all gonna die. She was flabbergasted at what she was hearing, and how everyone wasn't. I don't know. What in the world are you talking about?
Wow.
Ridiculous.
Wow.
I am sad that this is our president in the middle of a pandemic. I am sad that he cares more about getting reelected than people dying.
So you don't believe that the powers that be are ordained of God?
I don't believe all powers that be are ordained of God.
That's not what I asked you.
Well, I think you did.
Do you think you answered?
I think.
Why is Donald Trump the president?
Because of those same white Christians who could care less about black people being shot. What they want.
Do you have security?
No, no. I got the Holy Ghost.
Amen.
I see. I think what's ordained of God, anything that God does to me, he does through his people, or he doesn't do it. That is why it is Christ in us that is the very hope of glory. God needed a man in this earth to accomplish his purpose, and that's why he came in the person of Jesus. And he still needs a man in this earth, a man, a woman in this earth to accomplish his purpose, and that's the church. But unfortunately, the church and people who go to church are two different things. Sometimes the church and the leaders of the church are two different things. And so when you have the leaders of the church, because of typically one issue, elect a man who is the most unchristian-like man that we have seen in the White House, then no, I don't think he's ordained of God. I think he was ordained of the church, because the church got him elected, the white church.
So you won't be voting for him this time around?
I will not.
Question.
Why do you believe truth pisses people off?
Truth is divisive. It divides you, first of all, from a lie. And it's easier to believe a lie than to admit you believed a lie, or to even face the fact that you believed a lie.
Or to face the fact that you've been lied to.
Yeah. That you bought. Nobody wants to be a sucker. Nobody wants to be gullible. And when we realize that everything that I have believed all these years is not the truth, then I'd rather just stick to the majority, stick with the majority who believes like me, than face the truth. Especially if what the real truth is.
I think after listening to you today, Keisha and Tamila and Vanita might like you.
I'm doing
You see how divisive
my best, lady.
You see how divisive I am.
You're always stirring the pot.
Stir up the gifts.
Good.
Ooh, write that down so me and Maurice can sing that on worship tomorrow night. All right, you got a question?
Yes. This person asks, is it really COVID-19 that's killing people, or do you think it is the fear and anxiety of it?
I think there probably is a certain amount of fear and anxiety, but even that is brought about by the COVID-19. But it's definitely people dying from an actual virus.
Can we talk about COVID-19 in our final moments? Because I want to share something that is prophetic.
Absolutely.
And get your take on it. Do you have another question?
Yes.
We have a lot of questions, but not a lot of time. This was good today. Thank you so much. Thank you.
What are your thoughts on the uprising in Baltimore in 2015 and all the crooked cops that committed crimes during that time and blamed the Black citizens?
I found it not surprising in the least, because that's what we do. We even when it comes to victims of those crimes, the first thing that we do is put out everything that's bad about that person, everything bad they've ever done, as if to suggest they deserved what they got. We want to say, well, they were bad people. A lot of times they haven't. First of all, most of them that we hear about in the news committed no crime. And so if we can attack a larger group of people than one at a time, well, that's, and none of that is for the Black people. All of that is for other white people to make them more comfortable.
Question.
I don't know if it's a question or a statement, but they said, why do you think that we refer to each other as your people and my people? They just didn't understand why.
What he said.
Somebody asked him a question.
Yeah, somebody asked a question.
Do you feel like you're betraying
your people? And he said,
they're saying, why do we say your people and my people?
Because we don't know each other. We are because of a color barrier. The whole reason, people say to me all the time, if you weren't always around Black people, like in church and all the different things we do, all the different people I work for, if you didn't do that, would you have these same views? And maybe I wouldn't, but that's the whole point, is when you get to know other people, you begin to empathize with other people. You begin to see what other people go through and deal with, and you relate.
So how am I different from your white friends? Am I different? Am I Black or white, or am I when they call the Black and white mixed together, you call them
Mulatto.
Mulatto.
Yeah.
Am I mocha? Salsa?
The thing is, I don't. When you get to know other people, you find out you're not that different. You have different experiences, but as a people, we're not that different.
Yeah.
But really, the difference between a white person and a black person, aside from their experiences, is 2 extra layers of melanin in their skin. That's it.
Okay, well, let's talk about 2 extra layers of melanin in this skin. The black has the 2 extra layers of melanin, right?
Yeah.
And the white has 2 less.
Right.
Okay.
Black people have melanin in 5 of their 5 layers of skin, and white people have it in 3.
3. Okay. I learned something today. All right. But I've seen you walk around the United States of America, and I've seen you with your head up. You're not bothered by anything. The police officers come into the car, doesn't frighten you too much. You know, you say, okay, don't worry about it. I'm in the car. Y'all safe. You know,
Right.
that kind of thing.
Right.
And then I carried you behind to Nigeria. And because you don't have, what is it called? Melanin?
Yeah. Melanin.
Melanin?
Mhm.
Say it again.
Melanin.
Melanin. Because you don't have the level of melanin that we have and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Red as a firecracker, red as a beet in the airport in Nigeria. And you saw all those Africans was everywhere. And what was your first thought when what happened?
My
And it was the first time that you ever held my hand. My hand was down like this, and you reached over. You did like this. So I moved my hand away from you, and then you did it, and then you did like this. I said, "You can't do that here. I'm not letting go until you bless me."
The next time we went to Africa, you were already there.
Right.
And I was a nervous wreck because I thought, how am I going to get through these? How am I going to get through this? Because they're coming from everywhere, and they want money, and you better pay them in
Did
order
I come to pick you up?
The church.
No, I said, did I come personally to pick you up?
No.
I sure didn't.
No.
I felt that you needed to be amongst your people.
But you know who was more nervous than me?
Who?
James.
Who
has all the melanin.
Who has all the melanin. Melanin.
He was more nervous than I was.
Wow, this is excellent. All right, this is our final question. That's it?
We got 3.
Oh, God, mercy. Questions keep on coming. All right, let's try to do them.
Do you think there's a correlation between the Tulsa massacre and what happened to Terrence Crutchner? I think I said it right.
I'm really glad they asked that question because I've been working for the last 4 years on a documentary about Terrence Crutcher, the Terrence Crutcher shooting, called Bad Dude, Justice in Black and White. And people can find out more about it at baddudefilm.com. But what I want, it is not finished because the documentary does not have, the story doesn't have an ending yet, because they are suing the city. The family is suing the city for what do you call it? Judgment. And
I think you ought to put some of this. I think you ought to put some of this of you and me in there talking in this.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
And in fact, you have actually done. I've actually interviewed you for the documentary. The last time I was at your house. Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah.
You know how slow I am, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the melanin.
But one of the things that we start with Terrence Crutcher, and then we back up, because if you watch a Ken Burns documentary, whatever it is that he's talking about, whatever the subject is, whether it's country music or baseball or Jackie Robinson or the Dust Bowl, Civil War, whatever it is, he always backs up and shows the climate that created where we are. And they mentioned the massacre. So we back up and show the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921, where over 2 days, over 300 Black people were killed. Tens of thousands of homes were destroyed. Businesses, hundreds of businesses were destroyed. Some of it built back and then destroyed again. And that has permeated Tulsa ever since. We're still very segregated between North Side and South Side, and I don't, and it is a climate and a systemic, which comes from the word system. It is a system that is created. One of the things about racism, most racist people, most racist white people don't think they're racist. They don't even know they're racist. They're almost a victim of the system as much as Black people are, because it has taught them how to think as well. It has taught them how to behave, how to see things. And there was a guy that I was arguing with a few days ago over this shooting, and it turned out pretty quickly that the guy was a racist, and I told him so. And I said, look, I'm sure you claim to be a good, God-fearing, flag-waving, gun-toting Christian. And you could not be more racist if you were wearing a white hood and burning a cross on somebody's lawn.
Jesus have mercy, Mike.
And he said to me, so he said, you think all racist people wear white hoods? And I said, no, sir. I know they don't. Your problem is that you think anyone who's not wearing a white hood must not be racist. So you can't be. And racism goes way beyond the white hood and the cross burning. It's in very little things like clutching your purse on an elevator when a Black person walks on. It's just in the little behaviors. And I'm not saying that that person is running around calling people the N-word, but it's still racism.
Right, because I think the hoods was the fanatism of the thing, because you had other races who was racist, but at the same time didn't like the Klan.
Right.
They're not fooling with that.
Right.
They're crazy.
And going back to my issue with the white Christians, Hitler claimed to be a Christian and murdered 6 million Jews. Thought he was doing God a favor because Jews killed Christ. And you can't even join the Ku Klux Klan unless you're a Christian. So we really have to draw a distinction between a Christian and someone who is like the Christ, because many Christians are nothing like the Christ.
Question.
There is a Facebook group with over 18,000 people supporting the father and son who just got arrested. They call them men of God. Do you think it will be easy for them to be prosecuted for this case?
The white men?
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen, because we have seen this before. We have had outrage before. We have seen murders on video before, and the people got off. And we have those same type of people supporting those two men, supporting the president of the United States. And I'm sorry, Bishop. I promise you, I'll bet you every one of those people is voting for Trump in November that are part of that Facebook group. But that also speaks to the same point that I just said. Those people claim to be Christian, but all they see is the white men who murdered a young Black man are the ones who are treated unfairly.
And these opinions are not necessarily the opinions of the, no. Question.
Do you know, why do you feel some white people are so hostile to Blacks? Do you think it's jealousy?
Some of it is, some of it very well could be.
I think that a part of that you answered, and then don't forget what you're going to say. I think a part of it you answered in the discussion that you was having about systemic.
Yeah, they've been taught that.
They've been taught it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the guy in the helicopter that sees a Black man and immediately knows he's a bad dude. Just like the white police officer who fears for his life or her life. Why? since the only thing about that person that you're scared of is the fact that they're black.
Did you know that I was tasered?
No.
Yeah. In my book, Elephants in the Church, I tell the story of us riding back from Spring Lake, Fayetteville, on a night. Remember the story? And I was pastoring the church that I pastored now during that time. So this is we're talking maybe 15 years ago.
Wow.
And I had a few people inside the car with me, and we're driving, and we get on the black road. There's no lights, and the only lights you see is the headlights. And we're sailing down the and we shoot. Car comes out, blue lights come on. So I'm afraid. So I slow the car down and continue to ride, but I don't stop. And I drive maybe another 10 minutes. So, the police officer is not infuriated.
Yeah.
And I drive into a kangaroo convenient mark. There are not a lot of them around in there because sheets are taking over everything.
Right.
But the kangaroo. And when we pulled into the kangaroo, there was 6 or 7 cars, police cars there already. We pulled over. I told her, I said, everybody be quiet, don't touch that. And we rolled all of the windows down. And I took my hands and I put it on the steering wheel like this. And the police officer came over, and there was a guy in the back seat. I'm not going to mention his name. He was sitting in the back seat, and the police officer come over, and he had his gun in his hand, already out of his gun in his hand, flashlight over the top of the gun like this. And he's walking, and he shoots the light into the rearview mirror that throws it into the light to the eyes of the guys in the back and the guy in the back seat, I almost said his name again. The guy in the back seat starts flipping out. Man, get the light. I said, shut up. I'm trying to get him to shut up. Please don't tell us to get out of the car. We got out of the car. He said, shut up. So they opened up the door. We pulled him out of the car. All I said was, sir, I didn't even get out. Please, I'm down on the floor. Now, when I'm on remember, this is not small bloomer. This is big bloomer with the diabetes. So I feel this thing in my legs, like it's the leg. No one wants, and I'm down. There's a puddle of water. You can read it in my book, Elephants in the Church. Smooth, smooth operator. Okay, I didn't mean it like that, but you need to read it. There's a puddle of water in a crack. It's a kangaroo. When you say kangaroo, convenient mark is always in the country, on a country road, or in the ghetto. Kangaroo. Who buys kangaroo? We buy Exxon gas and Shell. Kangaroo gas. And there's a puddle of water, and and the police officer now puts my head. He's holding my head towards the water. So now all the water's going, but if water's going into my mouth. I'm trying to blow it away from my mouth and almost into my nose. This is what happened. A police officer, either he's from Fayetteville or Wichita, stuff like that, notices that it's me, Bishop Bloomer, and talks to the guys and stuff like that, and they pick me up, get me out of the Wichita. Let me say this. I was tasered, thrown on the floor, taste dirty water. And then when they picked me up and they were apologizing to me, there was a police officer that was putting me in handcuffs. He still wanted my hands behind my back. And through all of that, if you were writing a text, I maintained my integrity and I held my peace. Now, if the boy in the back seat would have shut up, maybe because I already had infuriated the police officer by driving into a lighted spot. But the reason why I drove into the lighted spot, Because imagine if that would have happened on that dark road.
Right.
George
Right.
Bloom would have probably been dead.
Right. And you're allowed to drive until you find a spot that you feel safe, or at least safer. And if a white person had done what you did, they would have gotten a ticket for whatever they pulled them over for and sent them on their way.
So I'm telling you that I've been there. I've been there. Okay, that was the question. That was the last question for the day, right? You had a lot of questions, and some of the questions, let me be very, very honest with you. You know what we did with them, right?
Cleaned them up
And trashed them.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now, I want to go back to Corona. You think this is what?
I think Corona is rebellion. I think it is the earth rebelling against what we have done to it.
Jesus have mercy. I would agree with you.
Because as soon as all the people disappeared into their homes, the sky started clearing up. Animals started coming out into places where you only see people and animals don't go there. And nature took over. When we've been talking about climate change and how we're only this many years away from not being able to turn back, I think that might not be true. And I don't say that for us to continue destroying the planet. I say that in that the earth, we've done terrible things to the earth. And if it weren't for us, the earth would be in great shape right now.
Yes.
And it has the ability to recover when we're not there destroying it. And now we're going to go back to destroying it quickly. And all the progress that we've made after decades of destroying it is all going to be undone. The progress we've done is going to be undone. But from a scriptural perspective, the whole creation groaneth,
Yeah.
awaiting the manifestations of the sons of God.
Wow. I asked you that question because before the coronavirus had hit, I had left the Word Network.
Yeah.
And they done everything they possibly could do to solve my character, to question my sexuality, to anything that they possibly could do to do it to me. I would speak to you night after night, some nights and what have you and stuff like that. And I didn't have a nervous breakdown. How would you say my state was during that time, behind the scenes?
I was blown away because you handled it like, hey, I'm on top of this. God's going to make a way. We're good. We're good. We're going. In fact, you had to continually reassure me, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
And I asked you, I said, and don't respond to anything. If you see anything, don't respond to it. Let's not blow life into it. And he breathed into it the breath of life, and it became a living scandal. I don't know that.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
And so, having said that, having done that, and I'm not angry, wasn't angry at any of the people or what you call it, and I've learned my son, who I can really call a son in ministry, and he's been a son of mine in ministry for 3 years now. He's the youngest Black priest in the Anglican Church in Africa.
Right.
And you, me, were all there when I met him. He had a dream one night, and in his dream, he met Bishop Bloomer. He wanted to meet Bishop Bloomer.
Right.
And 6-7 months later, he's at a studio waiting, and in walks Bishop Bloomer. And he gets a chance to be on our program that we're developing, Finding Faith and what have you. Well, right during the issue that I was going through, the Word Network, I'm not at liberty to talk about it. There's a lawsuit with that's going on. He called me and he said, Bishop, I had a dream last night. And in my dream, I saw you holding in your hand, you was holding the crown, and there was another hand pulling the crown from you, and you were defiant. So your hand was bleeding as the jewels or the rough edges of the crown was pressing into your hand. It was a crown. And then he said, and you received the crown, and the crown was placed on your head, but you didn't feel worthy to wear it. So you took it off and gave it to an angel to return it back to it, the one who can wear the crown. That thing blessed me. I needed to hear something, some sort of mystical, mystic, whatever. I just needed to hear something I was going through. And he said, and there's a memorial that was going on for you. And there was dancing and there was a song that was sung. So hold fast. And I went and I told my church that. I'm glad I did because it's on tape. Look up the definition of corona. Okay.
A part of the body resembling or likened to a crown.
Corona, a part of the body resembling or likened unto a crown. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The rarefied gases envelope of the sun and other stars.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The cup-shaped or trumpet-shaped outgrowth of the center of a daffodil flower. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's something that it talks about. It has some meaning in the occult. Okay. And then it talks about a virus or a disease, is what it says. What does it say? What does it say?
That's corona. So COVID.
COVID, right? So you have corona,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have
virus, and then you have disease.
And then you have disease. Okay. Now this is amazing. Answer it and talk to him. I'm online because in the vision I'm fighting for this crown, and there is a disease, and it's the disease that hit me has gone viral, viral, what have you. And I thought to myself, thank you so much. I thought to myself, I didn't see any corona or anything like that coming. I just thought to myself that the Lord was realigning everything and putting things back into its rightful place. And after fighting for the crown in the vision, because it wasn't mine, it was his, I still knew who the crown belonged to. And I gave it back. And I think that we're going to have great victory in this country and in this world if we can cast our crowns before the one who's worthy to wear them.
Wow.
I wanted to close like that.
Wow.
You say what, Mr. Mike?
There was a meme going around when this first started that said, because you worship sports, I've shut down your stadiums. Because you worship entertainers, I've shut down your arenas. And I thought, because you worship church, I've shut down your church. But what has really happened is the enemy thought he was shutting down our churches. And because of social media and the internet and live streaming, all he really did was open up the entire world to the church. And people are getting larger audiences now online than they could have ever packed into their church.
He's moved us from brick and mortar to click and order.
And isn't it something that
we're
for
meeting now in the clouds?
Wow. Isn't it something that for so long we have preached a church without walls? Here we are.
and there's a few that don't like it after they preached it, so they're demanding their walls back.
They want their walls.
Thank you so much, Mike. This has been beyond fabulous, and so you'll be seeing him make appearance with us once or twice a week as my anointing is growing. Thank you so much. Warfarecology is every single day, 4:00, and a day like today was just fantastic. Join us for Warfarecology every day, the Bishop's Daily Briefing. I thank God for bringing this about and bringing us to this particular point, bringing us to this particular truth. And there we are. Blessings of the Lord on you. Mike, what is your final words for today?
Well, I just want to thank you again for asking me to be on. You're one of my favorite people on the planet.
You're one of my favorite people also.
I have learned so much from you over the last 8.5 years. There's never, there's times when we have our back and forth and get a little weary, and then I end up in the next conference, shooting the next conference, and hearing you teach, and then I remind myself, oh, that's why I do this.
Yeah. Be not weary in well-doing. You shall reap if you kick Mike's behind.
Yeah, sometimes it needs some kicking. But I appreciate you. I love you very much.
Thank you so much.
Just
welcome.
Thank you not only for our working relationship over the years, but you've been a real friend to me too.
Thank you. Same here. That just moved my heart. I'm not crying today. The devil is a lie. Stop this. All right. So tomorrow we will see you, and it is confirmed. It is confirmed that I was getting ready to ask about that. Aces High Studio. This is how we can reach him. And this is how you can see truth that pisses people off. We have all this information for you. And watch this here. If you look at Help My Unbelief, that one there, you can see how well Mike has cleaned up. You must go and watch that the Azusa experience, and shortly after, once we sew all the things up, we're going to be having Carlton on, and it's going to be great. So thank you. May the saving grace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, full fellowship of the Holy Spirit, the Comforter, rest, remain, and abide with you all, and I will see you on tomorrow. God bless you tomorrow. It's going to be a great day.